Morning, Bill.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. I would like to call to order the Human Resources Appointment the Human Resources Appointment and Equity Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 15th, 2021, and we are right at 10 o'clock on the nose. So, Council Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Calling the roll, Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Mr. Gallagher is absent today. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
Ms. Conwell. Ms. Conwell is absent at the moment. We have a quorum.
So I'd like for people to know that Councilman Gallagher and both Councilwoman Conwell have requested to have excused absences. And so while it is not a requirement or prerequisite through our charter, it is, I'd like to make the motion to do so. Do I have a second?
Second, Sweeney.
All right, it's moved and seconded by Sweeney. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, so our council colleagues have been excused. Madam Clerk, was there any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one submitted any public comment.
All right, so I hope the gentlemen on here have had an opportunity to review the meeting. I'll make the motion since there's only two of us. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, so it's been moved and second. If there's no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right, and everyone said aye. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. Thank you. Okay, the meeting minutes have been approved, and my connection is a little unstable, so I apologize. So we're going to start with the first item on our agenda. Council Clerk, will you please read that item into the record?
Resolution number 2021-0144, confirming the county executive's appointment or reappointment of various individuals to serve on the District 1 Public Works Integrating Committee for the term June 22nd, 2021 to June 21st, 2024.
All right, excellent. And also, this is kind of an interesting day. I know that Director Dever was double booked today, and many of us know him on this call. So I'm going to start with Director Pomerantz. If you will kindly give us a little bit of background, and if you wouldn't also mind maybe speaking on behalf of Mr. Dever, or if you can identify someone on the call who's willing to speak on his behalf. You have the floor. Please unmute yourself, Director Pomerantz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. DOPWIC stands for District 1 Public Works Integrating Committee, and it oversees the State Capital Improvement Program in Cuyahoga County. And we are putting forth today the reappointment of our Public Works Director, Michael Dever, and an appointment of Nicole English, replacing Dave Marquardt. Nicole English, who is the Public Works Deputy Director, is here today to also speak on behalf not only of her own appointment, but also the reappointment of Michael Dever. Just so you know a little bit more about DOPWIC, not only does Director Michael Dever serve as a County Department of Public Works, we also have Paul Kumar from the Mayor of Bay Village who serves on this, and Ms. Deborah Berry is the Chief Development Officer. And then we also have Ms. Valerie McCall, who serves for the City of Cleveland, and Mayor Sellers, who also serves Mayor of Warrensville. And then the final person is Mayor, from the Mayor's appointee, Mayor of Cleveland, is Matthew Sprons. And as I mentioned, Nicole English is here today to speak on her appointment and also on behalf of the Public Works Director.
All right, thank you very much, Director Pomerantz. Are there any questions for the director before we move towards our candidates?
Nope.
All right, I'm seeing no's. Again, we're all very familiar with Director Dever and the great work that he's been doing. And I think there are some requirements that would put him in the position for reappointment. With that said, I'm going to move on to our next and newest appointment, Ms. Nicole English. If you would unmute yourself and share with us a little bit about your desire to be able to serve on this body and your background.
We do have a substitute for the resolution that includes the alternates. I'm not sure if you want to bring that forward at the end, or I believe that's been forwarded to the clerk.
Yes, we can do it after your presentation.
Okay, so it just adds the alternates for both of us so that there is someone to serve in case we can't make the meeting. I've been the alternate for Mike Dever on the DOPWIC over the last couple years. This committee has approximately about $30 million worth of income that they divide out among cities in Cuyahoga County each year based on scoring criteria that's set in the manual. So part of the committee is working on the rules and regulations and the scoring of projects that come in, and then the recommendations of what gets funded. So my background, I am a professional engineer. I'm a transportation engineer by trade. I've worked for a consultant for the first 10 years of my career, and I've been at the county for 11 years. I started in the county engineer's office until we merged and became public works. So this committee traditionally had county engineer appointments on it. Now that we've merged in public works, it's traditionally been the director of public works and the county engineer or another administrator in our department. The county engineer is currently vacant, which is why you don't see a role for him on the appointment list for right now. So Mike and I are the appointments for the committee, and then Tom Sotak, who is the chief deputy engineer for our department, and Chris George, who's our chief highway design engineer, are the two alternates that we're putting forward. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Okay, thank you very much. So with those two names that you have just shared, I'll make a motion to amend the legislation to include the alternatives. Do we have a second?
Second, Sweeney.
All right, it's been seconded by Sweeney, and all in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, all right. Were there any questions? I'm sorry, for Nicole, for Ms. English. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to make the motion to approve this, and I think we need it on second reading suspension. Is that correct, Director?
Yes, please, Madam Chair. They have an upcoming committee meeting where they're making some decisions, and if possible, if we could get second reading suspension, that would be helpful.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I will make the motion to move that under second reading suspension. Do I have, as amended, do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded by Miller. Are there any questions? All right, if there are none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. English, for coming forward. This will move to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. As you know, you're welcome to stick around with us, but we know you probably have a very busy schedule, so if you have to part ways, we understand that too. So with that being said, I would like to read the second item into the record.
Resolution 2021-0145, confirming the county executive's appointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Diversion Board for various terms.
All right, thank you very much. And I'm going to turn it back over to Director Pomerantz if you'll give us a little bit of background, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Cuyahoga County Diversion Board was established pursuant of Section 208.04 of the Cuyahoga County Code, and it was established to serve as a resource for information and advice on operation of and to provide recommendations and input goals, strategies, and programs of the Cuyahoga County Assessment and Diversion Center. And we are pleased at this point for the county executive to appoint 4 people. The diversion board itself is composed of 9 members, 4 appointed by the county executive, 2 appointed by the council president, 1 by the Cuyahoga County prosecutor, 1 by the Cuyahoga County public defender, and one by the administrative and presiding judge at the Common Pleas Court General Division. The 4 people that we are pleased to recommend today are Brandy Carney, Bill Mason, Akram Boutros, and Chief Calvin Williams. I believe they're all 4 here today to speak to their to this appointment, and we appreciate the time and consideration.
Thank you, Director. You identified 4 appointing authorities. Are each of the individuals appointed by one, or is it a collective collaboration for all 4?
I don't understand what you're asking.
You indicated that the prosecutor has an appointment,
Yes.
the executive. So how is who appoints who?
The executive appoints 4 that have to be confirmed by council.
Okay.
The rest are just submission of names, so they do not come before council for approval. Does that make sense?
Yes, now I got it. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions from the committee for the director before we speak to our candidates for nomination?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may, I have a question.
Councilman Miller, you have the floor.
Thank you. And my question is whether any of the other 5 appointments by other appointing authorities has been named so far.
Yes, I do have the names of some of the appointees. Not all 9 have been named yet. The county council president has recommended Donna Weinberger from the Greater Cleveland Congregation and Crystal Bryant, who's now with the NAACP. Prosecutor Mike O'Malley has recommended Joan England. Public Defender Cullen Sweeney has appointed Chris Julian, and we're still waiting on the Common Pleas Court appointment.
That is a pretty interesting and diverse group of appointments, so that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. Any other questions from my colleagues? All right, then we will start with Director Carney. You have the floor. If you'll unmute yourself, state your name for the record, and share with us why you would like to be a part of this unique and diverse coalition of board members.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Brandy Carney. I am the Chief of Special Operations for the county. I'm incredibly excited about this opportunity to serve on this board. I have been the point person for the county on the Diversion project. Over the last year, myself and Chief of Staff Mason have worked very hard to only a year ago look at the data and understand the importance for and the need in Cuyahoga County for something like this, something new and transformational is the word that we've used for our criminal justice system. And I really feel like that's the case. Within a year, we worked to open up the center. As many of you know, we opened up last month on 55th Street in Cleveland. A quick overview of the process. If and when an officer responds to a scene of a low-level nonviolent crime, first of all, our contract includes training, stress training that they can help to identify someone with a mental illness or addiction. If that person commits a low-level nonviolent crime, there's an opportunity, rather than the officer taking someone directly to jail, to instead take them directly to our diversion center to receive treatment. It's pretty amazing. It helps with the population in the jail, but more importantly, so often these crimes are done not, because of this underlying issue. So the opportunity to really change someone's life and get them the long-term help and recovery they need, and in an environment that's not a jail environment, an environment that is conducive to getting better with peer support and counseling and medical support 24/7 is really amazing. So we've opened up this center. Individuals stay for acute needs, so detoxification or stabilization, 5 to 7 days usually, that's the average. And then depending on the person, we can send them directly to another opportunity, or such as addiction bed in Cuyahoga County to carry out the rest of their treatment. You know, our goal is that this would be a model throughout the state and even throughout the US. I really feel like there's a great opportunity for that. There's been a lot of interest. I've been so pleased with the amount of support that we've received thus far for this center. So I'm really excited to stay engaged and make sure this stays successful for the county. I'll just quickly say, you know, my previous experience with the county, my last position here, you know, I understand the jail and our jail and what, you know, those the needs of our jail. So this is a great opportunity for us to assist in some of their needs also. So I would respectfully request your appointee to this board, and I'm looking forward to it if I receive that approval.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Carney. Are there any questions from my colleagues for the chief? All right. Well, we all know you very well, and thank you for the work you're doing in this area. And you know, this is something that I'm super excited about, and I know that Councilman Miller is equally pleased. And although my colleagues Gallagher and Conwell are not here, I'm trust that they are equally pleased about your nomination. So with that said, we have Mr.
On that point,
yes, Councilman.
I just want to weigh in that I'm very excited that she's going to be part of this, for the record. Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman.
You're welcome. All right. Mr. Bill Mason, you have the floor. If you'll unmute yourself and share with us how you would like to take part again in this diverse diversion board, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's an honor for me, quite frankly, to be part of this board if you should choose. You know, I've been part of the government, Cuyahoga County government, since 1987. And so about all that tenure for the most part was in as the county prosecutor and assistant prosecutor. So my time has been prosecuting crimes, but in that time, I've watched how many individuals come before the court who are either drug addicted or mentally ill and not really get the treatments that they need. And it's always been what I felt like is a black hole about our criminal justice system, is that we were missing a piece. So, you know, when I first became the chief of staff back in 2019, I met with Donna Weinberger, Michael Malley, and Reverend Colvin, and they talked to me about their trip to Texas and how important that trip was about viewing these diversion centers. And as I learned more about what they were speaking of, it sounded like to me about the central booking that we were trying to put into place for the last 20 years in our criminal justice process. So I was all in on the concept and the idea, and met with the executive, talked to him about it, and he very much liked the idea and wanted to be all part of it. So I think what we've created here in Cuyahoga County is one of the very, very good things that government can do for families and people in our county. And we will be able to look back on this day and on these events that created this 20 years from now and calculate very mathematically how many families and how many people we have saved. So I'm really hopeful that any kind of influence as part of the board that I can use to make this thing the shining success that I know it will be, I will do so.
Excellent, thank you. The thing that I appreciate, you said the mathematical measurement that we'll be able to draw down from this diversion center. Will we also be maintaining records around those demographics of the families, not just how many people, but the demographics, racial, socioeconomics, things of that nature? I
haven't, I know we have a contract to be let to somebody to keep the data. I haven't seen the exact question, but those certainly are logical things that we would keep track of. Right. So, and on that point, because I know that it's something that we haven't been doing as it relates to our Justice Center, and certainly something that I think we've had some conversations about in the past, so that we could kind of keep a better record and eye on what has been stated to be disproportionately negative effect on communities of color and low income communities. So just want to make sure that as we are moving forward with the Diversion Center, that we're, it would be interesting to see who is receiving the benefit of this service. So if you can please consider that as we move forward to all the members, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll turn it over to my colleagues if they have any questions.
All right, I'm seeing shaking heads, and Dale hasn't unmuted himself. So, all right, Chief Mason, you have gotten away real easy today. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So, next up, it looks like we have. So it was Dr. Boutros, but I got a text. I think he had to go to tend to another issue. So, Chief Calvin Williams, you are up next. So, if you would like to unmute yourself, state your name for the record, and share with us why you would like to serve on this board.
Well, good morning, Chair and the committee, Chief Calvin Williams in the City of Cleveland Division of Police. And I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to kind of just say a few words this morning. First off, I want to thank the county exec for the invitation to be a part of this board. I think it's a great opportunity for the city and the county to really take care of some of our marginalized populations out there, the folks that are involved in the system, which I've been a part of for the past 35 years, that really need more of an opportunity to go to a place that's really going to take care of their needs. And by doing that, we actually keep them out of the criminal justice system. And most of these folks, as some of the folks before me have said, probably don't need to be in the system in the first place. They have other issues, other needs. And this diversion center, I think, is the perfect opportunity to take care of those needs, to make sure those populations get the help that they need, to make sure that those populations and their families know that people actually care about them and the things that they're actually going through. And most of that has nothing to do with the criminal justice system. So that's why I'm really in favor of the Diversion Center and really welcome the opportunity to make this thing a success. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Chief. I'll open it up to my colleagues if you have any questions, and I'm just going to give the floor over to Councilman Sweeney. Knowing your pattern and your history of your working with your former friends, Councilman Sweeney, you have the floor.
Madam Chairwoman, thank you very much. I hope he's not my former friend. I hope he's continued to be my friend.
That's for him to.
There's one thing I know for sure that we did together that no one else have ever done. We repelled off a 16-story building together for a fundraiser, and he's much better at repelling than I am. Thank you for that personal note. To the chief, thank you for your willingness to do this. It's just your characters continues to grow. What I like on the Dales or Councilman Miller's, it's not just a diverse board. The diversity of all the professional expertise all getting together gives me the excitement and how successful this is going to be. And from your perspective, Chief, if I can ask a question, is the genesis from your perspective, how this came around. We heard it from Director Carney and Director Mason. How this began from your eyes, from going from an idea to actual concrete, and what role did the city play? So thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman.
Well, thank you, Councilman. We did have a great time jumping off that building a couple of years ago. I don't think the city can take a whole lot of credit for this. This was a county-led initiative. I think, as with all great initiatives, there has to be some partnerships involved. The city is one of those partners that's willing to jump into this and make sure it succeeds. This again started with a need for folks out there that don't really have a criminal background to get the assistance they need to stay out of the criminal justice system. And I think it's as simple as that, to make sure that these folks can get the assistance to be productive citizens out there in the county. And, this is just one of those tools that's out there available for them.
Thank you very much for that answer, and the partnership will continue. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I appreciate the opportunity to ask a question.
Okay, welcome, Councilman. Chief Williams, the question I have, and maybe Director Carney can also chime in, because one of the things we wanted to work on was the CAHOOTS legislation, which is crisis intervention activation, so that even prior to getting to the diversion center, I think that there was some conversation of the city of Cleveland implementing that option of having a crisis intervention specialist attend or respond to calls so that we don't over-criminalize people who are in need of support and services. Can you give us an update on that and where that is at the city?
Yes, Madam Chair and the committee. Right now, I think that legislation is kind of on hold. But the Division of Police late last year started what we call the co-responder program, which teams clinicians and social workers with our officers to be first responders to folks in crisis. And the goal of that team is to refer those folks, again, away from the criminal justice system into treatment and to therapy, back to places that can really take care of what their actual needs are. We plan to expand that program. Right now, we actually have 5 social workers that team with officers throughout the city. We have 10 officers on that team, 5 social workers, and they respond to those crisis intervention calls throughout the city of Cleveland. We would definitely want to expand that program throughout the county to other agencies if they're willing to do that. Right now, there's a COPS grant period where you can hire officers to be involved in that that crisis intervention piece. But there's also another COPS grant that doesn't involve police officers, where you can actually either partner, hire social workers, either contract with an agency that provides those type of services, and then put those two together to have what we term a co-responder model. So the CAHOOTS program, I don't know if we're going to have that specific model, but we are working towards that co-responder program throughout the city and hopefully can expand it throughout the county.
Excellent. I'm encouraged by that. And just point of clarification, the co-responder program was activated last year?
Madam Chair, that's correct. Late last year, and it's now up and running. And again, we're applying for that COPS grant for additional officers, as well as the other Department of Justice grant to actually try to contract with either the Adams Board, Frontline Services, Mental Health Board, some of those other agencies that provide that mental health assistance, and to expand that program here throughout the city of Cleveland.
And with that, because there are only 5 in the city of Cleveland is so large, is it restricted to a specific precinct or district that program is being piloted?
No, those are 1 per district, 1 for each of our 5 districts, along with those 2 officers. So there's a team in each district, and of course, that 1 team can only work 8 to 10 hours a day, and that's why we're applying for additional funding for additional CIT officers, along with the other Department of Justice grant that will allow us to either contract or hire additional social workers.
Okay, that's very exciting to me. So I'm very happy to hear that, and that I think in conjunction with the Diversion Center will certainly see some positive our county and our city moving in a positive direction as it relates to making sure, again, those people who have mental health issues or drug addiction issues, or even low level casting can avoid being over criminalized and get the help and resources that they need. So I'm super excited. Did anyone else have any questions for the chief? All right. If not, thank you very much. So if there are no questions, I'd like to make a motion to move this to the full body of the council in the second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you very much. This will move to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Council Clerk, will you read the next item into the record, please?
See you guys.
Oh, and yes, free to go. I'm sorry. I usually say that. We understand you have very busy schedules. We thank you for showing up. It's always our privilege to be able to put names with faces. And so if you have to go, which I'm sure you all have busy schedules, we understand, but you are welcome to stay. So Council Clerk, if you read the next item into the record, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution number 2021-0146, confirming the county executive's appointment or reappointment of various individuals to serve on the Cuyahoga County Monument Commission for various terms.
All right. Thank you very much. And do I turn this back over to you, Director Pomerantz? All right. If you'll give us a little bit of background.
Thank you. The Monument Commission is, where am I? Members of the Monument Commission of Cuyahoga County shall be appointed to serve a 3-year term, and we are excited today to have a reappointment and a new appointment today. And the Cuyahoga County Monument Commission is composed of 7 members, 1 representative from the Cuyahoga County Planning Commission, 1 from the County Department of Public Works, a member of County Council selected by the council president, and 4 individuals who have demonstrated a significant interest in studying the arts or local history. And we're pleased today to reappoint for your consideration Judith Satina, and she would fall into the category of local history historian. She's part of our county archives. And then we're interested in appointing Matt Reimer for an unexpired term ending 8/31/2022, replacing Otilio Morales. We hope you will consider these appointments, and I believe both of these members are here today to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Director Pomerantz. Do my colleagues have any questions for the director before we have our candidates present? All right, with that, Dr. Judith Satina, you are up first. If you will unmute yourself and state your name for the record and share with us why you'd like to continue to serve.
Good morning. I'm Judith Satina, the county archivist. I've had a rather long tenure in that position, so I think it has provided me with the experience, especially in the area of local history, Cleveland, Cuyahoga County. In terms of my academic background, I have a BA, MA, and PhD in history from Case Western Reserve University. I'm a certified archivist. And in addition, I've served on many committees and commissions. I was appointed to the Ohio Historical Records Advisory Board. That was a governor's appointment, and I had 2 terms and did serve as president. I'm also on boards for the Cleveland Association of Phi Beta Kappa, and the History Associates of Case Western Reserve University. So I think it's a combination of those different experiences and training and academic knowledge, most particularly of history, that hopefully will allow me to be an asset to the commission. Also, I am used to working with others in a cooperative way so that we can achieve goals. So for those, that particular skill set, I'm hoping you will be willing to renew my service on the Monument Commission.
Well, thank you. You certainly have been a tremendous asset. I remember you coming before us in the past, and your experience and knowledge is wide and deep. And so I will open it up to my colleagues if they have any questions, because I've had the honor of you being before us in the past. Councilman Sweeney, any questions?
Yes, just more of a understanding what the commission does. You said it's from the monuments. Which can I get a list of the monuments so I know throughout Cuyahoga County, and does it include Cleveland?
Yeah, they're throughout Cuyahoga County, and I know that unfortunately we sort of were suspended during the pandemic. We have a meeting that will be coming up, and we have been working on and compiling a list of all of the monuments that would be on county property. We have I think there's some plans that we will be reviewing in the near future for an exhibit. We're putting together our bylaws, and I think we have sort of a wide ranging definition of, the term monument. So it might be a statue, it could be an exhibit, it could take different forms. The last that we did approve was the Perry B. Jackson statue, which is now in the Justice Center. So we are in the process. We first met in 2019, and just as we were sort of moving on, our work was disrupted. So we're in the process of moving forward.
Madam Chair, I want to follow up if you don't mind.
Go ahead, you have the floor.
I'm just thanking you for doing it, and you shouldn't hesitate at all. 2019, as a lifelong Cleveland or Cuyahoga Countyan, there's so much out there. Every time I see a new one, it gives me more perspective how cool that I have the privilege of living in Cleveland. So when you put it together, I'm looking forward to going down memory lane and learn a lot more about Cuyahoga County. So thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Any way we can help or myself, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.
Well, yes, thank you.
So
We certainly want to, no, I was just going to say, we certainly want to have our citizens, people who visit our community, be aware of its history, the important contributions various individuals have made. And so it's a privilege for me to be able to serve on the commission.
Thank you. And I think our staff may have a list of some of the monuments that that the commission has been responsible for in the past, Councilman. So make sure that they get that to you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right. If there are no other questions, thank you. Thank you, Doctor. If you'd like to stay, we're going to move to our next candidate, Mr. Reimer. You have the floor. If you'll unmute yourself, state your name for the record, and share with us why you would like to serve on this body.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Matthew Reimer, and for the last 5 years, I have. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
My apologies. I have forgotten a number of times to acknowledge that our council president has joined this meeting. He's been on with us for a while, so I do want to acknowledge that. Thank you, Council President Jones, for being a part of the meeting. Mr. Reimer, you have the floor. My apologies.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For those that may know me, my name is Matthew Reimer. I am the Facilities Design and Maintenance Administrator for the Department of Public Works. In that role, I report to the Director of Public Works, Michael Dever. And if approved, I appreciate the executive's nomination. And if approved, I will be filling the role of the Public Works representative to this commission, and look forward to serving. I am being nominated as Director Pomerantz stated for the unexpired term for Mr. Attilio Morales, who was my direct report during his time with the county and my time here. And he retired deservedly in December of just last year. So I'll be filling his role. My role on the commission and the value that I can bring to it will likely be in the establishment of new monuments and the caretaking and maintenance of existing monuments and displays, and bringing the resources of the Public Works Department to support the interpretive displays and the establishment of new monuments to be considered. My background, I'm a career public servant. I have been with you for nearly 5 years now in the same role as the Facilities Design and Maintenance Administrator. Before that, I was a Coast Guard officer in the United States Coast Guard, and have had numerous experiences both in that service as well as with the county in taking care of and establishing new monuments of a variety of nature, and look forward to serving this commission if approved.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to open up to my colleagues if you have any questions for Mr. Reimer. All right, there being none, thank you, Mr. Reimer. You got off pretty easy today.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. So I'm going to make the motion. It looks like we need to make this under second reading suspension. So I'll move it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right. I'm going to give that one to Miller. It's been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, or concerns? If there are none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you both. If you'd like to say, you're welcome to say, but we understand you have busy schedules. So if you need to, we understand that as well. Council Clerk, if you read the next item into the record, please.
Resolution number 2021-0147, confirming the county executive's appointment of Lori Potash to serve on the Cuyahoga County Law Library Resources Board for the term January 1st, 2021, December 31st, 2025.
All right, thank you very much. He's frozen unless I'm frozen.
I'm
really
I'm
tell
I'm
these
open.
days.
I'm up. Can you hear me
Okay, that
okay?
was go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Cuyahoga County Law Library Resources Board is composed of 5 members who serve 5-year terms, and these members serve without constant compensation and are eligible for reappointment. And we are pleased to present Ms. Lori Portash to serve a 5-year term expiring 12/31/2025 and replacing Cheryl Cheatham. Ms. Portash is here today, and one of the responsibilities of the County Law Library is the hiring of the necessary personnel to support the library's organizations. They also manage the coordination, acquisition, and utilization of legal resources throughout the county, including providing legal research, reference assistance, and other library services to Cuyahoga County residents. Ms. Portash is here to answer any questions you may have.
All right, thank you very much, Director. Are there any questions for the Director before we hear from our candidate? Okay, there are none. All right, if you will kindly unmute yourself, state your name for the record, give us a little bit of your background and share with us why you'd like to serve on this board.
Good morning. My name is Lori Potash. I appreciate the putting up of my name by the Mr. Budish. I'm a lifelong Cleveland resident. I'm passionate about libraries. I have a library science degree from Case Western Reserve University. I was a law librarian at the university. While being a librarian, I went to law school at night at Cleveland Marshall College of Law. I then started practice law for about a dozen years. In the late 80s, my husband and I founded Overdrive, which today is one of the largest vendors of ebooks, audiobooks, movies to libraries and schools, as well as institutions. I have a lifelong passion about reading and books. I look forward to supporting the mission of the library and the librarian in providing top shelf legal research, collection development, and continuing education to the lawyer members, as well as the general legal community and the public and county officials. I would look forward to this appointment, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming and joining us today. Are there any questions for my colleagues? Questions? There are no questions. All right, thank you very much. So it appears you two have gotten off easy today. So I will make a motion to move this under suspension to the full body of the council. Do I have a second?
Second, Sweeney.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. If there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
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 We move to the full body of the council. Thank you for joining us today. It's always an honor and a privilege, Ms. Potash, when our candidates come before us to share with them their desire and why they'd like to serve on these boards and commissions. So if you have to go, we certainly understand, but you are more than welcome to stay. Council Clerk, if you will read the next item into the record, please.
Resolution number 2021-0150, authorizing an amendment to contract number 454 with Medical Mutual of Ohio for stop-loss insurance services for county employees and their eligible dependents and Cuyahoga County Benefits Regionalization Program participants, employees, and their eligible dependents for the period January 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2020, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,340,000.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Madam Chair.
All right.
No. Patrick Smock and the Human Resource Benefits team has prepared a presentation for the committee.
All right, thank you very much. Director Smock, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. As introduced, Pat Smock on behalf of the Department of Human Resources, joined by my colleagues Sheila Marshall and Stephen Witt. And also you may have noticed that we're joined remotely, not only by Chief Drucker, but also Kelsey Finucane, Susie Harmon, and Luke Clark. They represent Oswald Companies, our benefits consultant. This is an amendment to the county's current contract with Medical Mutual Ohio for stop-loss insurance coverage. It extends the contract through year's end. It was solicited through a competitive RFP process in 2018. And the department is currently in the process of processing a new RFP for stop-loss coverage that will begin in 2022. Stop-loss coverage covers county employees and their dependents. It mitigates risk. It protects the county from extraordinarily large healthcare claims. The current stop-loss limits are $750,000 for county employees and dependents, with the exception of the Board of Developmental Disabilities. They requested a lower threshold of $300,000 for their employees and dependents. We do experience claims that exceed this limit, and so carrying stop-loss coverage is considered best practice for private and public organizations of our size, guarding the county against liability for catastrophic claims, which is especially prudent as the county is a self-insured entity. The cost here is in line with previous years. What does stand out, and we do recognize, is this is quite late coming before the committee, and there were several reasons for the delay. The first is that the amendment started in December of 2020. Stop-loss vendors always request the most current experience data they can get to get the most accurate picture of the risk for the upcoming year. So this was a late start. The final agreement was provided to the vendor for signature, and then there were delays until about April of this year getting the vendor signatures on that document. The vendor then had to register with the Inspector General or update the registration with the Inspector General. And then lastly, the county received the final documents from the vendor on April 27th, reviewed by the law department, and then the request for the amendment was submitted in the contracting system shortly after that. The good news is, as was mentioned earlier, we'll have a new RFP for 2022 stop-loss coverage. It's currently in process, and the department and the county's consultant, Oswald, are moving as quickly as possible, so we delay this situation with the future RFP. Madam Chair, we appreciate the committee's consideration.
Well, thank you very much. You touched on the I think you mentioned the board or the developmental disabilities. Can you just explain the difference for me from the larger number to the from the 750 down, the drop, what the difference is and how that will impact families?
So, and I'll defer to my colleagues at Oswald if they have additional information, but I'll just say that the Board of Developmental Disabilities, as far as the county's benefits plan is concerned, is considered a separate entity. And so we have a threshold of $750,000 for our employees. The BDD, and I don't know the reasoning behind this, and Oswald companies might know something about that, but the BDD requested specifically that they have a lower threshold of $300,000. There shouldn't be an impact to families in general. What stop-loss coverage does is, should an employee or their dependents' medical bills exceed that amount, then the stop-loss coverage kicks in, as it were. So consider stop-loss coverage sort of like an automobile insurance deductible, and at a certain point, then the insurance kicks in. The difference being, Madam Chair, that it's a lower threshold level for the Board of Developmental Disabilities.
And this is Kelsey Finucane from Oswald.
That's how I understood that. So go ahead, Kelsey.
I apologize. Patrick did a great explanation. The only thing I would add to it is that the county has way more employees and dependents on it, hence the higher threshold. The Board of DD is a smaller entity, and so typically the smaller entities do want a lower deductible level for stop loss because their claims experience is not quite as predictable.
Okay, and that made sense after I just completely, I was thinking of something else. So my apologies. You explained it very well. So thank you very much. I'll open it to my colleagues if they have any additional questions.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Miller.
Thank you. I have three very basic questions. The first question is, are there any other regionalization partners participating in the stop loss program other than developmental disabilities, or are they the only one?
Well, Madam Chair and Councilman, I would say that, and again, our colleagues from Oswald can correct me. We do have one small regionalization partner, which recently came forward, which is the Convention Facilities Board, which has 2 employees. So they're our final regionalized partner. Our Board of Developmental Disabilities is, however, to my knowledge, is the only one that's split off from the county executive and other employees, courts, boards, and commissions. So they are the only ones that are separate when it comes to stop loss coverage. That small group that I did mention is considered part of the executive group. So they're not a separate policy. They're on our county executive policy.
Okay, and the second question is, of the $1,340,000, how much of that cost is for the county executive's portion, and how much of it is for the Board of Developmental Disabilities?
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman. I phoned a friend, and Stephen Witt provided me the following. That is that the county amount is $905,000. The Board of Developmental Disabilities amount is $435,000.
Okay, the county's was 900 and how much?
$905,000.
$905. And the
Correct.
final question is, comparing the 905,000 to what we paid last year, how much did we pay last year just for the executive side?
Last year for 2020 coverage, the executive's cost was $870,000, so some $35,000 difference, Councilman.
That's percentage-wise a smaller increase than what we have typically seen on this. Is that correct?
I would agree, yes, sir.
Okay, no further questions. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. All right, if there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, then I'll make the motion to move this to the full body of the council. It appears we need this moved under second reading suspension. So under second reading suspension, do I have a second?
Second.
And seconded by Councilman Miller. If there are no additional questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much. That'll move to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Is there any miscellaneous business? All right. If there is none, everyone have a good day. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman, Dale, my colleagues.